father, what did you try to do to help Jamie? I know we've talked about it has to be up to that person to
What do you do as a father? Let's see, over a couple of decades, what do you do?
Yeah.
I threatened him. I yelled at him. I pushed him. He was a big kid, so I stopped at the push. I held him in my arms and told him how much I loved him. I brought him into my home and thinking that I could provide a cocoon. Threw him out of my home when I found that I was only enabling him. What do you do as a parent? You have a whole checklist of unsuccessful methods is what you do. You fail as a parent. You care. You care so much, and there's a certain sense of frustration that you're unable to affect the change that you so badly want to. I loved my son so deeply. No matter what he was going through at the time, it never changed. It never changed the way I felt. You don't love him less because he was going through a bad period.
Right.
He wasn't crawling through my window stealing my box of change. He wasn't taking his mother's jewelry. He wasn't breaking into his grandfather's place. My son helped so many people with their struggle to only succumb to his. It's so unfair, but it's so unfair to everyone who's touched by it. It's not just unfair to me. It's not just unfair to our family, our friends. As Tracy and Jeanna pointed out, try to find someone who hasn't been affected. Try to find somebody in your life who hasn't somewhat tangentially been affected by this. The sense of loss is only the beginning. You know, to think that that's going to be replicated in households all across America today, not next week, today.
Right.
To think of that, that's unconscionable. That's unconscionable. So as a group, as a family, all we can do is let people know how raw this feels, how real it is. It's not isolated. You know, to use words like epidemic, we're not going for a dramatic effect here. We're not talking about an epidemic. We're talking about how it affected us, how it affects us. I have a 12-year-old niece in the other room dealing with stuff that no 12-year-old should have to.
Granddaughter.
My granddaughter.
His granddaughter.
It was my son's
They're
niece.
very close.
He had a
She's trying to deal with the loss of an uncle who was absolutely one of her dearest friends. As close as two people could be.
They were.
Yeah, you know, how does it affect you? What do you do to try? I don't know. You know, push a boulder up a hill, you make a few inches with it, and then it rolls back over you.
Right.
And so what do? You get back behind it and you push it again. Could I have done something different? Could I have been a better parent? Absolutely. There's no question. We could all be better at what we do. Could I have changed anything? I don't believe I could have.
Right.
I don't believe I could have. But the one thing that buoys me is the fact that I loved my son. I know he loved me, and we were never shy about expressing that. I don't have to move forward wishing that I had, I wished I told him I loved him. Saturday morning, before he passed away, I told him I loved him.
Awesome.
He was walking by the house, going to breakfast. I said, I love you, buddy. He goes, I love you, Dad. I'll be over tomorrow for dinner. You can't say goodbye. But if I have one message, and to parents everywhere, and this isn't just parents of addicts, tell your kids you love them. Because if you don't, and God forbid something happens, you'll regret it. Tell your kids you love them. They're the best things you have.